Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Honorable Leaders of Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, and all online TV viewers, Mr. Speaker, sir, first I wish to begin and acknowledge His Excellency, the President of this inspiring and thought-provoking address to this august House. His foresight challenges us to remain steadfast in our service to the people of Fiji. His Excellency also reminded us of the remarkable journey of our beloved nation has traveled in securing or upholding our sovereignties. Mr. Speaker, sir, along this journey we have endured the moments of turmoils and we continue to navigate trials and tribulations. Yes, Fiji has remained steadfast, resilient in spirit, united in purpose, and unwavering in our commitment to progress. We strive to stand as an exemplar in our Pacific region, honoring our role as a hub of the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, sir, this journey has unfolded over more than a century. Today, as the leaders and citizens entrusted with our Fiji futures, we carry forward this legacy. We continue the work of building and rebuilding, reconnecting our people, rebranding our identity, and readjusting our sails so that we may reach our shared goal and realize our collective vision for a stronger, more prosperous Fiji for tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the midst of all our policies to improve livelihood, the laws we enact to protect our citizens, and the investment we pursue to drive development, I wish to ask this august House that the children of Fiji must remain at the center of everything we do in this House. It is our duty to secure their future, safeguard their health, safety, and well-being, so that one day we will look back and acknowledge our legacy, just as we honor the foresight of our forefathers today. Mr. Speaker, sir, the honourable members of this august House, I rise to emphasize that education is one of the most powerful platforms we can provide for our children. It equips them to be critical thinkers, patriotic citizens, respectful individuals, confident entrepreneurs, peaceful and compassionate neighbors, and resilient goal citizens of Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, through education, our citizens, including children, learn to value the richness of diversity and to collaborate in bullying and dividing our islandness in our beloved Fiji. Our guiding legislation, frameworks, and policy, including SDG 4, the National Development Plan 2025-2029, and Vision 2050, and the 2023 Denarau Declaration underscores the shared commitments to ensuring equitable access to quality education for every child here in Fiji. Today, I rise to reaffirm this commitment and to advocate strongly for strengthening equity and access to education, particularly for the many children who reside beyond our urban centers. Mr. Speaker, sir, evidence continues to highlight the persistent challenges faced by our natural in the rural maritime schools. This includes inadequate infrastructure, high operation costs, inconsistent access to essential services such as transportation, ICT, and electricity. This barrier widens the rural-urban divide, the digital sociality, and in learning outcomes for the future leaders of our Fiji. Therefore, development across our interior, rural and maritime region must remain a central pillar of national planning and priority setting. This is essential given the enriched educational inequity faced by this community and our responsibility as leaders to ensure no child is left behind. Mr. Speaker, sir, with rising social concern, the data shared by the Substance Abuse Advisory Council of Fiji, the counseling arm of the Ministry of Education, revealed deeply and worrying trend. drug-related cases in our school increased to 3,143 in 2025, up from 3,041 in 2024. Alarmingly, this issue has now extended to primary school, with some younger students reportedly being used as runners or mules for drugs delivery. Such a development underscores the urgency of strengthening community resilience and access to safe, supportive education environment in our homeland here in Fiji. As Assistant Minister of Education, I'm encouraged that His Excellency, the President, has also highlighted, I quote, special emphasis will be placed on empowering interior, rural and maritime economies so that development reaches every province and island, unquote. The nation direction aligns strongly with our education sector's priority. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to talk in our Itaukai dialect. Sa mga kamunatag sa kapalebu, kana mga bibita itiko na bebatoro da ketaki, ene tonda kuni be korle lebu. Yes. Pongo esama sagati ko kwandondonu. Kina sasanga ni tambana ni buli. Sa voreta yotimai no veka sa daga rawati ko na ngau ni kuwa. Na nonda sa mendolawa na minister ni buli. So na korni buli tordake secondary school. Na niano matuku ke totoya. Na weni secondary school ma da kaunrobe. Na Muka Secondary School may Maduata, Wainikeli Secondary School may Tabiuni, na Waka Secondary School may Nandi, Namboro Junior Secondary School may Naitasiri, Keyasawa South Secondary School may Sawa. Mr. Speaker, sir, our students are vulnerable in expanding development in our rural, remote and maritime region, greatly enhance their access to schooling. Strengthening education close to home will also help to reduce rural-urban migration, enabling children to remain with their parents and families where they are safest and best supported. A well-known African idiom says, "It takes a village to raise a child," becomes even more meaningful when parents, communities, the Vanua, churches, and other faith-based organizations work together to guide, protect, and nurture our children. With our improved access to quality education, even the most remote communities can ensure that their children thrive in life. Moreover, in our journey towards building a stronger and more inclusive Fiji, the role of education remains central. Today, I also reiterate in this august House the importance of inclusion in our mainstream classroom. Every child, regardless of background, ability, or learning, needs to deserve the opportunity to learn alongside their peers. As per our data from 2025, 2,296 students were registered on FEMIS as having some form of disability. Of these 2,296 students, 822 are girls, which is 37% of the 296 students. 1,119 are enrolled in special education schools, which is 47% are girls. Of the 2,296 students, 1,087 are in the 378 inclusive mainstream schools, both primary and secondary school. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the data shared above, inclusive education is not simply an approach, it is a commitment of fairness, dignity, and the belief that every child has a potential. When our children learn together, they grow together. They learn respect, empathy, and collaboration, the value that strengthen our community and our nation. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, we must recognize the truth that often hesitate to articulate, as not every child will pursue white-collar pathways, and that is perfect, acceptable. Education is not a one-size-fits-all model. Across the world, it is a widely acknowledged that academic pathways are just one many avenues to success. Here in Fiji, our TVET sector stands as a powerful second chance opportunity, a pathway with dignity, purpose, and real economic values. From carpentry to plumbing, from electrical work to mechanical trades, from tourism to agriculture. Blue-collar profession often limitless opportunity for our children. They are the backbone of our labor forces and the driving engine for national development. Today, through various mobility and labor schemes, we see Fijians thrive overseas in skilled trades, including household income and contributing to our economy. This is an opportunity that TVET empowers our young people to access through this education that we advance them to learn in their daily basis. The General Declaration Thematic Area 5 on TVET is creating a wave with new programs, including mainstream TVET opportunity piloted at 15 secondary schools at Year 9 level in 2025, with an additional 5 schools this year. Another program is the TVET first piloted in the 4 girls' schools in the Central Division, mainly ACS, St. Joseph Secondaries, DAB Girls, and Valentine Memorial School. This is our one initiative by the Education Ministry to nurture and empower our young girls to venture into male-dominated areas like mechanical engineering, carpentry, plumbing, to name a few. This is possible with a collaboration with the FNU, where the girls go to Samabula campus every Friday for hands-on experience. Mr. Speaker, sir, for TVET to truly flourish, we must strengthen ownership and respect technical and vocational profession. As families, as communities, and as a nation, we must shift our mindset. TVET is not a fallback, it is a future. It is not a second-class pathway, it is a second-chance gateway to success. At the heart of all, it is a shared responsibility. The coalition government will continue to invest meaningfully in ensuring that every child is in school, providing resources, policies, and support to make education accessible to all. But for this investment to bear fruit, every family must take ownership of their child's education journey, must be a priority. Mr. Speaker, sir, education is most successful when the homes and the school work hand in hand. Parents are encouragement, the positive mindset, and believing in every child that they can succeed makes a huge difference in our journey. So let us move forward together, committed to inclusion, proud of our TVET pathway, and united in ensuring that every child in every corner of Fiji is supported to achieve their full potential. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Education continues to address teachers' workforce needs through a structured, consistent, and nationwide system of communication and monitoring across all schools in Fiji. Teachers' vacancies are identified through several key mechanisms, including notification of leave, as well as exit arising from resignations or death. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry has taken proactive steps to ensure that classrooms across Fiji remain adequately staffed, particularly in areas experiencing the highest shortage. Recruitment has been fast-tracked through teachers' training institutions, enabling final year students to be deployed into a highly demanded areas, especially STEM subjects and primary education, while they completed their remaining studies. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry has engaged retired teachers and increased the retirement age, now 60 for most teachers and 62 for those in STEM and special and inclusive education, to help retain experienced educators in our system. We have also reinstated structural interviews for year 13 students aspiring to enter teachers' training program, strengthening the quality, the preparedness, and the suitability of their future educators. The Ministry continues to work closely with the key partners, such as the Fiji Teachers Registration, the Higher Education Commission, Teachers Training Institution, and the Tertiary Scholarship and Loan Scheme to ensure stronger alignment between pre-service training recruitment is on the pipeline, and scholarship provision. Plans are underway to streamline human resources service through a centralized HR hub, which will significantly improve efficiency in recruitment, posting, and overall workforce management. Mr. Speaker, sir, the teachers' retention remain a global challenge, and Fiji is no exception given the increasing mobility and the migration of skilled professionals. Despite this, the ministry has undertaken a comprehensive review of relevant policies to ensure fair and competitive remuneration. In addition, we are exploring non-salary incentive and welfare-focused policy that support teachers' well-being, strengthening engagement, and promote long-term commitment to the teacher's profession. Strengthening collaboration will ensure that our national strategy aligns across ministry, fosters trust, leverages diverse expertise, and maximizes resources sharing. This unified approach will support and enhance the vision of the ministry in nurturing lifelong learners, fostering innovation, and ensuring equitable access to education while improving the overall quality of life, especially in rural, remote, and maritime regions. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand in this august house to call upon all honorable members, leaders, and ministers to our beloved Fiji to strengthen collaboration, coordination, synchronizing our effort, and let us continue to work together to ensure that every child, regardless of where he or she lives, has the opportunity to learn, grow, and succeed. In closing, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is steward of our collective action and commitment to ensure we drive greater efficiency, stimulate innovation, and deliver stronger outcomes for our people. And the note, Honorable Speaker, sir, His Excellency the President and his most gracious speech, and I fully support the motion before the House. Iliesa Vanawalu.